Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, in case if you were unaware, I'm making this right after the final Canadian team in the Edmonton Oilers just got eliminated by the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, as we all know, heading into the Stanley Cup playoffs, 3 of the 7 Canadian teams made it. That, of course, being the Winnipeg Jets, the Edmonton Oilers, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, every year-round playoffs, of course, Canadian fans are super excited and eager to see how their team does. However, especially lately, Canadian teams haven't been performing very well in the playoffs. I mean, just if you look at the last time 2 Canadian teams faced off in the Stanley Cup final, it was all the way back in 1989 when the Flames would go on to verse the Canadiens in the finals. So fast forwarding to the 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs, the Jets got eliminated and absolutely destroyed by the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, nobody really expected too much from this Jets team because although they started off really good in the regular season, their second half of the year was just absolutely terrible. I mean, despite Hellebuyck making some key saves, Vegas would go on to score 4 or more goals in 4 of the 5 games played. Meanwhile, the Jets would only score more than 2 goals in 1 of the 5 games. Now, this is an absolute joke, especially for a team with as much talent as Winnipeg. And of course, as we've all seen, the rumors have been coming out about Winnipeg essentially rebuilding the team and how various players such as Hellebuyck are not interested at all. I mean, we also saw how the coach absolutely flipped out on the team and called out some players, which just creates some more drama in that change room. And honestly, right there you have it, the first Canadian team eliminated in the first round. Now, as we all know, the Edmonton Oilers would eventually come out on top against the LA Kings. And of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs would essentially break the curse of 19 years, beating Vasilevsky and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, you had the internet absolutely buzzing, and Leafs fans were celebrating like they won a cup, which honestly you can't blame them for. Following this, the Leafs team had so much confidence heading into the second round, and here's where things get interesting. After arguably dominating the first 2 games against the Panthers, Bobrovsky would absolutely stand on his head and steal those first 2 games, and is arguably the reason why the Panthers would go on and win this series. And even though the Toronto Maple Leafs were actually Stanley Cup favorites at one point and huge favorites to win this series, the Panthers would surprise the world and just honestly make Toronto look horrible. I mean, now you got all these rumors of Keefe being fired, of course Matthews going to Arizona, and a bunch of other players such as Nylander leaving the team. Now, a lot of Leafs fans were disappointed, but you know, as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan myself, this is something we're very used to. So, as a Canadian myself, like many other Canadians, we put all our hope in this Edmonton Oilers team. I mean, of course, you had them go on a huge run at the end of the season, and McDavid having an all-time top point leader year, which is just absolutely ridiculous if you think of the level of goaltending and how much harder it is to score nowadays. Of course, you got players like Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, and Nurse, which are just absolute tanks. Now, even though there was some doubt in the back of our minds because of the goaltending issue and the defensive issue, you know, this team lets in a lot of goals on the back end, we still had hope because they were just an offensive firepower. Fast forward to Game 6 of the series, the Oilers being the last Canadian team in the second round. They would go on to get absolutely outplayed by the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, arguably one of McDavid's top rivals in Jack Eichel would arguably outplay the Edmonton Oilers this whole series. And just like that, all the Canadian teams are out of the playoffs in just the second round. Now, it's kind of funny because this all feeds into the Gary Bettman conspiracy that it's rigged against Canadian teams. Now, right now, I don't have anything to say about that, but it's just crazy to think how all these Canadian teams are always doing so poorly in the playoffs. I mean, if you just go online and do a Google search, the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup was all the way back in 1993, which is just ridiculous if you ask me. So yeah, what do you guys think down below of these Canadian teams? Do you think they just all suck? Because let's be honest, you've seen the memes online about these teams. I mean, other than the Oilers and the Leafs, who do you really got? But anyways, how do you think the third round of the playoffs will go? And who do you guys think will win tonight between Seattle and of course the Dallas Stars. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like down below and subscribe, and see you next time.